So it looks like it's reading it's reading 11.62. Yeah, it's dead.
Okay, welcome to this week's episode of Luv Subbin, and right now it's just me, because Ant-Man has a problem.
Uh-oh, what's that?
So we just pulled in, after about a week and a half or so of camping, great camping. If you want to check out some of that video, you can check out our Salisbury Beat the Heat video. But whenever we park in our driveway, we'll do the unloading and stuff, and then we'll just put the battery into store mode. And, you know, if we're going to be more than a week, we'll unplug the terminals of the battery and stuff like that. But right the next day, it's just into store mode. So we went in this morning, and there was a beeping noise. We're like, what the heck? And that's my Victron Battery Monitor. If you come in here,
you can hear it.
I don't attach this thing. I just leave it in the shoe cubby, but it's beeping with a low battery alert.
Okay.
So that's bad.
Right.
And that's very unnormal. We put the battery off of store mode, put it back into use mode. You can see it's in use mode now.
Yep. And
it's still beeping low battery. So,
okay,
we're going to go ahead and go through some of our problem solving steps to see what the deal is with this battery. It's reading 10.2. It should not even be close to that.
We would have charged it yesterday the whole drive back.
Yes, and so it should really be almost fully charged. So let's do step one of our problem solving, which is to ensure that it's not an instrumentation issue, to ensure that our Victron is not failing.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and check the battery right at the source.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to take our cover off. We're going to turn our fluke meter on. This is the world's best multimeter, by the way, the Fluke series meters. Turn it on to DC. And go ahead and check the voltage. And it's reading, what's it reading there, see?
10.17 it looks like.
All right, so we've ensured that it's not an instrumentation issue. Now we're gonna go to step two of our problem solving, or really the first step almost, and that's correct the obvious. Let's go make sure that we don't have a parasitic drain right now.
How would you figure that out?
We're gonna go ahead and use our Victron Battery Monitor now that we know that it's functioning. Let's go ahead and do that.
Okay, sounds good.
Let's go ahead and connect to the Victron. And it says 10.24, and the current flow right now is 0.67, which I've said this many times before. Our current flow at normal stasis is 0.63. So I would say if that was a high number, I would worry that we have some type of weird parasitic charge. But it doesn't appear to have that.
It's not any higher than usual.
It's not any higher than usual. So the next thing is to go ahead. The one most common thing when you have a battery that's discharged after being hooked up to power for an extended duration and the battery's half dead is that your converter has failed. So the converter is not taking power from the 120 volts and sending it to the battery to charge. Okay, and then it's not converting 120 to 12 volt, so all your 12 volt stuff is being used off the battery.
Okay.
Okay, so we've had that problem before. So the easiest way to do this is let's go ahead and plug her in, and that voltage should immediately increase if it's charging from the converter.
Okay.
If it stays at 10.24 after we plugged her in, we know our converter's dead.
Okay, then I hope that's not the case.
I hope that's not the case either.
Okay.
So even though I'm just hooking up to the house, I'll still use my surge protector to make sure everything's good there.
Now you're not using a 30 amp cord because you're only plugging into a 20 amp system, correct?
Yeah, in a previous video I said you need to make sure your extension cord is sized to your 30 amp or 50 amp, but because I'm not going to be using the air conditioner, I'm only going to be using a light load, I can go ahead and use this.
And we're lit. I heard the Victron's turned itself off.
So we're not beeping anymore. And so it's showing battery voltage right now at 13.89.
Okay.
and that tells me my converter is working.
Okay.
Okay, so, and I suspected as much because my morning routine before I make the coffee is I check the voltage, black tank, gray tank, and fresh tank every single morning. And when I was checking it, it was either 12.9 or 13.3, depending upon whether it's doing a float or absorption charge, or bulk. So yeah, so that's showing that the converter's working. So now we got to figure something out. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take the battery out and charge it inside, and that way I can take it off and let it rest and do other stuff.
Maybe see if it holds its charge.
And we're going to see how long it takes to charge it up, and then once it's charged up in green, we're going to see if it holds its charge. And if it doesn't, in either of those two cases, we've got a dead battery. Our lead acid battery here is a, let's go ahead and take a look at it. It is an El Cheapo Autocraft Marine Deep Cycle, but it's pushing 6 years. So I kind of thought this was the last season for it, and it might it might be a little early for that. So
now it wouldn't have anything to do with putting in distilled water or anything like that, correct?
It could, but I just checked it, the water levels a couple weeks ago. So if the water levels are drained, that's another issue entirely.
Okay.
All right, let's go ahead and get it out and see if it charges up.
Okay.
So you can see here, as I've unplugged it from the converter, how the voltage is just plummeting down. It should not be doing that.
Okay.
So yeah, battery 101. So one of the things I always keep in my spare parts kit in the truck whenever we're traveling is my battery charger. And the reason I do this is should your converter ever fail
On the road.
yes, and you can actually plug your battery, take this end, plug it to your exterior plug of your Airstream or RV, and then take this and plug it to your battery. That way you're taking, this thing's taking the place of your converter and charging your battery.
Mm-hmm.
So
We've had that happen.
we've had that happen. So I just pulled it out from the truck, and we're gonna go ahead and get things charged up.
So safety first?
Yeah, I've got my personal protective equipment on. I've got my goggles. Remember, safety glasses are good for projectiles and things that might hit. Safety goggles are what you want for splashing, as well as gloves because of the acidic nature of the electrolyte. Okay, and you can see right there, those all look great. They're all the distilled water is covering the cells. And same thing here, so you've got water covering all the cells. So looking good there. Each of the cells producing about just over 2 volts to give you your 12 plus volts. So we're going to go ahead and put this thing on charge.
So it's just about eliminating possibilities.
And making sure everything's right, you know. This may be it. I've been talking about trying to kill this battery for years and years and years. This may be it.
We'll see.
All right, plug her in. And again, just like I said before, I'll connect the negative terminal last. So positive on.
Those almost look like jumper cables.
Yeah, same type of connection. Negative. That goes orange, showing that it's charging. And we'll let it on charge for a couple days, I think. If it's not charged fully in like 2 days, then I'm going to take it off and check out to see its voltage.
Okay.
And also, a lot of you might be like, oh, you can't put a battery on a concrete floor. Yes, you can. That rumor or that myth came about from cardboard car batteries that used to be sealed in cardboard instead of the hard plastic. And then some of the electrolytes might get, or the moisture would get the cardboard wet from the floor that would tend to short the cells out. With a hard case plastic battery, you can put it on a concrete floor without any issues. We'll come back in a couple of days. So it's 24 hours later, and I came down to check on things, and you can see by the 3 green lights that the battery is now fully charged. Now, I have to admit that went quicker than I thought it would. I thought it would have taken at least 2 days, considering its depth of discharge. But we're gonna go ahead and pull it off the charger now. We're gonna let it rest for at least 3 hours and take the voltage then. The voltage right now means nothing. So we had previously charged this battery up to its full charge. The green light went on, the charger said it was good. Took it off charge, let it sit for a day, and took a look at it. And that voltage is now 11.65 after 1 day of sitting all by itself. And that's a self-discharge rate that is terrible. You should only lose about 0.001 volts per day due to self-discharge. So this is the only time also that this battery chart that everybody likes to pull up is useful. It is only useful when the battery is at rest and completely offload. Nothing's hooked up to it. Then you can use this battery chart. And that's the only time, not when it's hooked to your rig, not when things are running. And you can see at 11.65, we're about 20% dead. And in one day, that's a disaster. So this battery is toast. This Autocraft Deep Cycle Marine, this is as cheap as they come, as crappy as they come. And it has lasted 5.5 years. A lot of boondocking out west.
Yep.
It is, now granted, I am Ant-Man, so that's why it's lived, but Ant-Man is now dead. Parasitic draw has defeated him.
I somehow think Ant-Man's going to reappear in a different incarnation, perhaps.
Probably. Hey, but deep cycle.
Yep.
All right, well, there you have it. How we troubleshot our lead acid battery.
And as you can see from the video, the battery was clearly dead and we needed a new one. And it has arrived today.
And what does that warning label say?
I think it might have to do something with lithium.
Yeah, hopefully it's not too fragile, though. Hey, but join us next week because we are going to show you exactly why we chose a lithium over the lead acid batteries that I've been touting for quite some time.
And we're also going to show you from start to finish how we converted our system from lead acid to lithium.
So if you like this video,
Give us a big thumbs up.
and if you think we earned a subscription, click to subscribe.
And comment below if you've had troubles with your batteries and how you fixed them.
Because we come out with RV and Airstream related videos just like this one every Tuesday.
Thanks for watching.